to prisons and detention centres everywhere. Every Monday at 4 p.m. on your community radio 3CR.
We are still fired up, and we're still talking about revolution.
And welcome to the show. I'm Peter, and Russ is here.
Yep, and this is the Doing Time Show. It's 3CR Community Radio, 855 AM on the dial, streaming live on www.3cr.org.au. And we've got a very informative show coming up. First up, we're going to be speaking with Lucy Honan from the Refugee Action Collective. And Lucy is going to be speaking about the asylum seekers that are leaving Manus for the US. So we're going to be speaking about the US deal, which is very controversial. And anything is controversial as far as Trump's concerned. About 24 asylum seekers have left Manus Island Detention Centre as part of Australia's resettlement deal struck with the United States. And that's what we're going to be talking about, amongst other things. And then after that, we're going to be speaking with Christine Palmer. Christine Palmer is an Aboriginal elder and grandmother who has done a lot of crisis counselling and has had 30 years' experience in the area. And we're going to be speaking with her about Dylan Voller, who was recently arrested at a peaceful protest. Listeners may recall that we interviewed Dylan a month or so now in regards to a shutdown youth prisons campaign that he helped initiate and found, and they're now trying to send him back to prison. So we're going to be talking with Christine Palmer about that, and also about other related issues in regards to Stolen Generation and her work with youth. So, Peter, I believe, will be putting on some music shortly. I'll introduce Christine in more detail later on when we get to her interview about what land she's from. But without any in the meantime, we'll go on to Lucy Honan soon.
Okay, we'll put on an announcement now.
Hello?
Listen, I had a great idea.
Male chauvinist pig versus hairy-legged feminist.
You're still a feminist, right?
I'm a tennis player who happens to be a woman.
The battle you've all been waiting to see. The battle of the sexes.
You want to see it, right? Then get along and support 3CR at the Palace Withcast Cinemas, 89 High Street, Northcote, on Thursday, October 5th, from 6:30pm for a screening of Battle of the Sexes.
You're offering the men's winner 8 times what you're offering the women's winner.
The men are simply more exciting to watch. It's just biology.
The story of the infamous tennis match between Billie Jean King and Bobby Riggs.
Tickets are $25 and $20 concession. You can purchase online at 3cr.org.au, direct from the station at 21 Smith Street, Fitzroy, or by phoning 9419 8377 during business hours.
All funds raised go to keeping 3CR on air. Battle of the Sexes screening, Thursday, October the 5th from 6:30pm.
Does she have the nerve?
Call Bobby. Tell him it's on.
Indigenous people in Australia and the Pacific have borne the brunt of nuclear testing, and this was not done unconsciously. We found documents in the British archives saying that yes, there is certain hazards, but only to primitive peoples, those that don't wear clothes and don't wash, unlike us British. So the sort of racism inherent in this whole operation was known and understood from the beginning, that these were the casualties of a larger imperial policy, and that they were able to bear the brunt because there were very small populations and didn't have much political voice. And as we fast forward to today, we see that same thing.
3CR, keeping you informed about Australia's nuclear past and present.
At such a time, it's important to have a voice like 3CR, steady, constant, sane and committed to a nuclear-free Australia.
Hello and welcome back to the Doing Time Show. Lucy, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Marissa.
Lovely to have you, and particularly on school holidays. Lucy, I'm wondering, because there's a lot going on, isn't there, at the moment, with all this stuff with asylum seekers and refugees, isn't there? I'm sure you're working around the clock, but I'd like you to start off, if you can, just to speak about what's happening with the asylum seekers that are going to be leaving Manus Island, or have they left already? And are they actually going to be going to the US as part of the resettlement deal, and what's happening?
Okay. So last week, 50 refugees were taken from both Manus Island and Nauru to be resettled in the US. So they were, selected. It's not clear on the basis why they were selected out of everybody. There was a combination of single people and families, and they were taken off to resettle in the USA. Pretty tragically, that's 50 out of, so many. I think it's about 1,700 people altogether, and no end in sight about what will be next, when there'll be next, if there'll be a next. But certainly all the numbers that we have and that the US and the Australian government have been talking about are far less than, at least 500 people less than the total number of people on Manus and Nauru. And this morning there was another tragic suicide on Manus Island. A Tamil man, a 32-year-old Tamil man, was found hanging next to the Lorengau hospital kitchen. And I think that throws into pretty stark relief the inadequacy and the deep inadequacy of the US so-called solution for all the people who have been in such mental distress for 4 years, being neglected in those camps.
So people are actually still at the camps, Lucy, are they?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's 1,700 refugees altogether, minus the 50 who just left. So that's 1,650 people in offshore detention still.
What a disaster!
And the the Australian government and has essentially admitted how preposterous and illegal it is. At least in PNG, because there's been several court cases where they've had to either commit to paying money, or in PNG itself they've they have declared it an illegal prison, and so there's a commitment to force out all of the refugees from the detention centre into the East Lorengau centre, which is kind of another false prison, I guess. But there's not enough room for them there. There's no plan to take them anywhere else. And as I said before, there's no serious plan to evacuate them all to the USA. It was just a tiny token effort of the 50 people. And you can imagine the distress of people, the bittersweetness of everybody who was left behind watching those people take off. So, I think there's a sense in which perhaps, I'm sure the coalition government is pleased that they got 50 people out, because it's a little bit of a pressure release on them that they seem to be doing something about the horror show that they've presided over. But in terms of a real solution, it's absolutely not one.
No, because the people that are left, how are they going to have a safe life?
Yep. That's right. How indeed. And I think the fact that it took 10 months since the very first interviews, when the US deal was first struck, 10 months ago, there were the first interviews, and it took until last week to get just 50 of them gone. So the idea that people can tolerate, for example, this awful situation of the Tamil man on Manus Island. He couldn't tolerate a week longer. And I think it's the ninth death in offshore detention. So yes. It's as I said, and as I think we all kind of really acutely feel, there is such a deep urgency to this situation that is not translating into enough pressure on our politicians yet to make them evacuate the camps and bring them here. But that's what we need to do.
Absolutely, and I believe there was an article in The Guardian about the suicide.
Yeah, I think it's the ABC and The Guardian have printed it. It's getting out there. It kind of, I mean, look, it's tragic, but it's not surprising,
No.
and it's not tragic in the sense that it at some avoidable, disaster. This is completely avoidable, and completely predictable. The man was taken, into the hospital because he was so mentally distressed. Everybody knew that, he was under incredible distress. But there are no facilities in East Lorengau, no mental health facilities, and frankly, even if they were, you can't relieve the mental distress of being in limbo, of having no certainty in your life and no safety. The only thing that's going to relieve that for all of these people is to be resettled
just
in Australia.
Bring them here, and eventually they can contribute to the equity.
Yep.
And
to society and to be embraced
community.
as, fellow human beings. Exactly right.
Exactly. And equality, there's got to be some equality here, and it's not just about the economy, it's about, helping people and giving them access to not only freedom but community.
That's right. And the other thing, the comments of Peter Dutton as some of the refugees were lining up to be evacuated from Nauru, that they were wearing Armani clothes and they're economic refugees, and this disparaging sort of thing to kind of plant this idea that they're undeserving refugees.
But that's really, I can't stand that term, economic refugees.
Yeah,
I can't stand it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous because it is designed to make people feel as though they don't deserve our help, they don't need our help. But it underestimates and it disguises the reality of what all these people have fled. 150 of the people on Manus and Nauru are Rohingyans, and we've seen the violence that has been committed against the Rohingyan people in the last couple of weeks. The Australian government was trying to induce some of them in the very height of these attacks and brutalities in the Rakhine state. We're trying to pay some of the asylum seekers to go back there. And, the idea that even if there were some Armani jeans on these people, that was going to protect them from the violence that was going on there.
Oh my God!
Is not. It doesn't tally with reality, but it's very, very calculated to make people who are feeling like, well, I can't afford Armani jeans, I'm struggling, I'm doing it tough. It's calculated to make people see refugees as totally undeserving of the generosity we can work up.
Like they're trying to make them out to be users and money grabbers.
That's right. Right.
The term economic refugee, look, I'll tell you what's really interesting is that, and I think you and I have talked about this before on air, and I think, Peter, you have too, okay, in regards to the fact that there are so many migrants, people that have migrated here, Italians, Greeks. Who do you think built the roads? Like it was perfectly all right for people to migrate here when the government needed them, wasn't it? And certainly I'm not discounting also in the 1800s that, that we were founded on a prison colony and colonisation, and that, prisoners also built the roads, you know what I'm saying? But do you see what I'm trying to say here? When there was a lack of population, it was perfectly all right, wasn't it, for people to come here? And now, all of a sudden, Peter Dutton's putting out this propaganda about economic refugees. What is this?
Yeah, it's hateful divisiveness.
It really is.
Yeah.
And according to the Refugee Action Coalition, I believe there was an article in Sky News recently that they said that about 22 refugees, including Sudanese, Afghan and Iranian asylum seekers, was it true they were taken to Port Moresby?
Yeah, that's right. So there's a lot of movement of refugees all over PNG because of this claim that, the detention centre is going to be shut down, and there's a deadline that they're just not going to be able to meet, this claim that they're going to shut the detention centre. So there is another detention centre being built in Port Moresby, but even that is not going to be big enough to house the number of refugees still there. So there's all this moving people around, turning off electricity, turning off gas, forcing people out into East Lorengau where it's very much not safe for people to live. But what isn't on the table is a resettlement deal.
This agreement
in Australia,
Australia, there's nothing to say
Yeah.
that people need to come here to Australia. How is that going to break budget?
Yeah. No, that's right. I mean, in fact, the amount of money that they've spent, it just keeps going up. There's billions of dollars sunk in the offshore detention regime. They've every time they want to play that money card about, how much it would cost and, to be fearful, that people in Australia should be fearful that they might be taking jobs or taking up money or taking up resources. The billions of dollars spent in the offshore camps pales into, the savings that would happen if you were thinking about it on those terms, to shut the camps and allow people to resettle in Australia.
And indeed, the agreement that was struck with the Obama administration has been severely watered down. And, Trump called it a dumb deal, didn't he, before agreeing to honour it? I mean, seriously.
Yeah, well, that was incredible when the details and the transcript of the actual conversation between Trump and Turnbull came out. The revelations that, actually there was no commitment to take even a single refugee. I think, the fact that was exposed is probably behind the reason they've taken 50. But, 50. Turnbull was at such pains to say to Trump, you just have to look like you've agreed to this. You don't actually have to do anything. But, the other interesting thing in this whole scenario was actually the people swapping element of it. So Australia committed to taking some Cubans off America.
Yes. Yeah.
And they're people who had, they're actually still in the middle of a court case. They tried to seek asylum from the USA, were sent to Guantanamo Bay and have not been even assessed as refugees. The American administration wouldn't even process them. The Australian government has taken those people, very speedily processed them, in the time that they haven't processed people in the years and years that refugees who have sought asylum from Australia, they've been just sitting around waiting. But these Cubans, as part of the people swap deal, have been, the Australian government has shown that if they want to process people, they can do it in an instant, and they've been processed and they're living in Queensland. And of course, they should be made to feel welcome. There is no suggestion on my part that they don't deserve a safe space in the world. But if it can happen for those people, why not make it happen for these 1,700 people? It's cruel and, nonsensical.
And isn't it a bit of a double standard that, the fact that asylum seekers have actually been assessed here as refugees and then America wants to do the extra scrutiny?
Oh, exactly. And it's an excuse to put the go slow on it, and it's an excuse to make it, be strung out on and on and on.
So they've already left, right? Because it says
that's right. They've left and they've landed. So people have set up. They're set up in the USA. So, I mean, it's really wonderful for those people. Although some of the bittersweet comments from some of them as they were leaving, just kind of indicating that their hearts have been broken, that they don't want to hear about Australia ever again, and that they're glad to be leaving Nauru, but they don't have any happiness left in their hearts after what they've been through.
It's horrible. What's going to happen to them?
Well, one thing that's going to happen is that they're being forced to pay for the flight that from Nauru or from Manus to USA. So each of them has been lugged with, after 4 years of hell, a $2,500 plane ticket, unless they want to get a bad credit rating on the from the start.
Fantastic. I'm very sarcastic there. But Lucy, now what does this mean? Here I'm just having a look here at the Sky News article where it says that 1,250 refugees in Papua New Guinea and Nauru will be taken to America in return for Australia accepting asylum seekers from Central America. What's that?
Well, that's the thing that I was referring to about the Cubans. But mean, the does it say that 1,250 will be, or up to 1,250 will be?
Up to.
Yeah, that's that's the thing, and it doesn't say when.
It doesn't say when.
So it could be another 10 months before we see another 50 go.
But it's so watered down. It's so watered down.
Mm.
And what's really sickening here is the way that Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull says that it's a sign of the strong relationship that Australia shares with America.
Doesn't it make you sick?
It's sickening.
What a time to be declaring a strong relationship with Donald Trump, Trump's America.
And I've spoken to quite a number of Americans about this situation, and in fact, a lot of the Americans are saying that they feel sorry for the refugees and asylum seekers that are going to go there because they say that you've got to pay for medical insurance and you've got to pay for this, and it's not really what it's cracked up to be over there.
Yeah, no, I mean they deserve to be given as much resettlement rights as they can.
Absolutely.
I don't know what the deal is, but certainly, for the refugees who do end up coming for Australia, we need to push hard for that. And just on a slightly different note, there are some refugees who were on Nauru. Well, there are actually 50 of them who need urgent medical care, and there's a process in place where a medical board decides whether or not people can be transferred to Australia or not. And there was a long and protracted fight with that medical board about bringing 3 women who needed abortions from Nauru to Australia. And they're, for a long time, in fact, for too long, that body decided that they couldn't come because it's against the law in Nauru to have an abortion. So the women are in Australia now, but the fact that women have to go through this process and can potentially be denied that medical treatment, and all the other people in Nauru who are denied that treatment, it's ridiculous. But when they come here, they need to be, and we as a refugee campaign need to be on the front foot about demanding that they have full rights to proper medical care, to housing, and to Centrelink support and everything else that they need.
Well, we've still got a lot of work ahead of us. It's approximately 4:23 and you're listening to an interview with Lucy Honan from the Refugee Action Collective, and this is the Doing Time show at 3CR. Lucy, do you have any final comments before we finish?
I do. I want to 2 things. One is I think it's pretty clear that Turnbull, he's covered himself in shame in lots of different domains, and I think he's going down in the polls even further. And he's on his way out in a couple of years or whenever the next election is. But I don't think we have to wait that long. We can't wait that long. And the suicide this morning shows us that we cannot wait that long. So we need to keep the pressure up on the coalition. And I want to encourage people to come to the Refugee Action Collective rally this Sunday at 2:00 at the State Library. And the other thing I want to say is that, in the Labor Party needs to stop being silent about this issue. We haven't heard anything from the Labor Party condemning this state of affairs, and they need to speak up now. And we need to force them to commit to a better policy than what they've got before they come to power, and to help us get Turnbull out of power on a good, strong pro-refugee basis. So to that end, come with your rallies, come to the rally on Saturday, but keep up the pressure on Labor about what their policies are.
So it's this Sunday?
Yep, that's right.
This Sunday at 2:00?
At 2 p.m. at
2
the
p.m.
State Library.
At the State Library, which is Swanston Street?
Yeah, that's right, just near Melbourne Central.
So rock up to that rally if you can, and show your support for asylum seekers and refugees, and also to get Turnbull out of the power.
That's it.
Thanks so much, Lucy, and it's great to have you on for regular updates. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Marissa.
Keep up the good work. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Lucy.
And that was Lucy Honan from the Refugee Action Collective. And on behalf of the Doing Time show, we want to offer our condolences about the the man who committed suicide to his friends and family. Yep. And pretty shortly we're going to be speaking with Christine Palmer. And before we actually go into more music and announcements and I set up the interview, I just wanted to, as per her request, explain that Christine is actually from the Kajiti Arunti land, and she's a grandmother who I said in my previous intro, she's had 30 years experience in counselling and crisis work.
So I'll just go to a track, Took the Children Away by Briggs.
3CR are selling keffiyeh Palestinian scarves in support of the last factory that produces them in Hebron, Palestine. All profits will be donated to the reconstruction efforts in Gaza and support Palestinian industry. These are traditional scarves available in red and black, or you can choose from a modern design. Go to 3cr.org.au/shop to buy online or drop into the station during business hours.
You're back with the Doing Time show. It's approximately 4:32, and we're going to be speaking with Christine Palmer, who is a grandmother and is experienced in crisis counselling, and she's had 30 years experience, and we're going to be talking about Dylan Voller and the protest that she was at. Hello, Christine. Welcome to the program. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, Christine, welcome to the program. You there? Can you hear us?
I'm so honoured, eh?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very happy to have you. So, Christine, can you start off just by telling us what land you're from?
I'm a Kadij Aranda woman from Central Australia.
Oh, that's great. And I'm wondering if you could just talk a little bit about yourself and some of the work that you've done with Indigenous youth.
Well, it goes back to the 80s, I think, because I was a welfare worker and done a lot of child protection stuff, and then later on I even joined the Child Protection Board, looking at all the cases, throwing cases back if I wasn't happy with it. That was really good. Yeah, and working around youth and families.
So in the world of colonisation and stolen generation, all that type of stuff, in that context, what do you think about what's been happening with Dylan and all the young people in youth prisons?
Oh, look, at the moment I've just been over in Canberra and listening to a lot of that stuff around sovereignty, and it's kind of put me on a different level to where I worked before, working in nearly all the organisations, non-government and government organisations, and going to Canberra and looking at the justice for Aboriginal people has put me on a different level. Talking about Dylan, look, when we saw that footage of Dylan when he was in Dondale, that kind of was something real that we all had seen, and everybody, you may as well say the whole world was watching, and there were a lot of tears shed, in people's household. With him and his mum now, they're kind of targeted all the time, and I was at that protest the other day, and it was really, really unfair. And that's the first time I've ever been involved in it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm.
So tell us about the protest. I mean, so that it was a protest. It was a campaign that Dylan initiated, right? or not just Dylan, but the other people as well, initiated this campaign to shut down youth prisons. What happened at this protest? It was peaceful, right?
Well, everything went smooth. You know, it was around deaths in custody as well.
Yep.
You know, we've in the last month or so, we must have had about 2 or 3, maybe 4 deaths in custody. You know, and looking at that and hearing people saying and family are saying, you know, there's a now missing off the CCTV. It's a really scary time for us all. And when you know something has happened to, you know, their loved one, well, it kind of hurts us all around Australia. You know, you hurt one, you hurt all.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And we shed tears with the parents and grandparents and the wives and everything like that, and it's just getting out of hand. Anyway, we had our speeches, and then we all went marching and just, you know, justice for, you know, singing out justice for and close down youth justice and things like that. And next thing, my cousins and I, we were walking along, and then we're stopping the traffic.
Yeah.
And we didn't do that. We haven't experienced that before. So we're in the middle of the Stewart Highway that goes through Alice Springs, and you know, at the lights. Everything was okay. They allowed us, you know, in a big square sort of thing. We rocked that road and this one and that, and chanting, you know, shut youth prisons and some of those things. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And everything was okay, but I overheard one of the policemen say, you know, just watch him, we'll take him down. And I was thinking, here we go, they're going to pick on Dylan. You know, they hadn't done enough damage to Dylan, you know, the emotional, the psychological trauma that he has from them, you know. And people are saying that he's, you know, he's the troublemaker and all the things that they say about him, but not remembering every time something happens, you know, he's the one who went there and got mistreated. And
but he didn't do anything wrong at that protest, though. It was a peaceful protest. What did they arrest him for?
It was a peaceful protest. When they grabbed his mother and threw her on the ground and, you know, just rolled her over and so hot in the tar and everything, you know, on the bitumen. They just rolled her over and it takes about 4 to hold her down. And really, and they lift them up from where the handcuffs. They just lift people up on that. And there was the footage there. I looked at some of the footages last night, and they grabbed this young 14-year-old, and you could hear the thump on the road of his head when they pulled it down like that, and that you heard the thump. And I was saying to my niece, it's a wonder they never cracked his skull, because he's a big man. And then one part, they said, get off the road. And I said, I'm not on the road. I'm on that little island in the middle of the road. And that bloke come along and he chested me.
Are you serious?
You know when
That's
you're standing
disgusting.
up in the sun. And well, I call it chested, but it, you know, instead of a headbutt, he kind of hit me with his chest.
That's
and I'm
terrible.
only little. And I'm only little, and I said, isn't that assault? You know, can I take you up for assault? What's your number? And he ran away. He ran and joined the other fellas.
Good on you.
You know, it was supposed to be a peaceful protest, you know?
Yeah, it's police brutality, isn't it?
Well, the thing in Alice Springs, and before we left, I said to them, we all know that the Northern Territory government is toxic. This town, from Alice Springs to Darwin, we live in a institutional racist system. And it's no secret. And there's a lot of prejudice, stereotyping, the whole works. And our kids, you know, education starts at home. And when our kids go out on the street, they're hearing all that bad language. We don't swear in our household, you know. when we're teaching our kids. And I teach my grandchildren. I have 14 grandchildren, and we teach them to be more assertive than aggressive.
Yeah.
You know, one grandson walked down the street. He got off the bus and he was meeting his mum. This is a couple of years ago, to get a pair of shoes. And he got off the public bus and he went across the road, and the police come past, and they said, "Hey, you little black sea. Hey, you little black sea, get over here." And he kind of just kept walking. Well, they jumped out of the car and, you know, they flew up on the footpath, grabbed him and pulled him down. And they said, "Why didn't you come across? Didn't you hear us calling?" And he said, my mother and father, they named me Andrew. My name is not Black Sea." And they just grabbed him and threw him, and he said, "Oh, we got a smart ass here." And they took him to the watch house. And in the evening, we tried every household looking for him, and we didn't know he was there. But that's a norm.
What happened to him in the end?
Well, somebody said, "No, I saw him with the police." So we went there and got him out.
So this is happening time and time again, isn't it?
Every day. Every day. It's because and they're all bullies.
Yeah.
These are bullies. And I wrote numerous complaint letters to the relevant organisations and to ministers and to commissioners, even to the Governor General on some of the issues that our kids are going through. And they just don't even sometimes send a letter saying, as a receipt of my letter or anything. But it's the whole community. The non-Indigenous people have gone on board and mistreating all the kids and adults.
Yeah. So, Christine, I'm really glad that you're able to expose all of this institutional racism on air, because it's really important. The media doesn't really portray that enough about what's happening.
Well, I don't think Channel 7, 9,
No.
the normal ones, they would not put anything this on.
No,
So
no.
I am so happy that we got social media.
Yeah.
And we're doing around the country, finding out what people are doing and what not. When I go down to the embassy, like I said, often, because that's like family away, home away from home. One of the things that I've noticed is that people from around the world come there and apologise to what the Australian people and government are doing to the Aboriginal people.
You mean the tent embassy? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the tent embassy.
Yeah.
And I said, well, how do you know about what's happening? And they said, we send our reporters out to find out, because they don't get it any other way. And that was very interesting.
For sure. Christine, we didn't want to really interview Dylan because we felt it might hurt his case to interview him. Who knows, he might be charged with contempt of court, and we have to be really careful about that legally. But do you know what Dylan was actually charged with?
If you look on shut youth prisons, I think they got it on there.
We'll have to have a look and do a little bit more detail, because the information about him is quite sketchy. And it appears to me that, the police may even try to make it like a breach of his parole.
Well, that's one of the things I was thinking.
Yeah.
It's coming to the end now where he's going to be a free little man.
They don't want him to be free.
Yes. And that's what I was thinking. They might get him to do something, and then he breaches.
But this happens all over the world. It happens in Australia with Aboriginal people. It's happening with the existing Black Panthers that are locked up and incarcerated. When their parole dates come up, they get beaten up and taken into solitary confinement. This is an example that, Dylan is actually trying to do some good work here. I mean, even in MSN News, there's a quote, that he talks about Elijah Doherty and how he was killed when he was run over in Kalgoorlie in August 2016. And, and I believe that protest was about, deaths in custody, and yet he's trying to be silenced.
Yeah, that's right. And the thing is, he's educating us. He's educating us in the territory because a lot of Aboriginal people live and work under fear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So we got to look at some of this stuff. But what I said when we came back to the lawn, I said we must applaud the officers for doing what they did over there because it's a statement that we wanted the world to see, and they just, showed us what sort of people they are.
Absolutely. And, some people criticise Dylan and say he's a troublemaker, and it's not fair.
I know there's a lot of negative.
Why?
It's really not fair.
No.
What people are putting on Facebook.
Oh. Yeah, well, Christine, I'm just really happy that you were able to come on air and talk to us. It's really important.
Oh, well, that's really good because they're fixing up the juvenile detention here in Alice Springs.
Right.
At the moment. All those other young fellas who's in prison, they've gone up to Darwin now.
Okay.
Up there. Yeah, and when they go up there, they're away from family and country and that. And one of the things that I've noticed when working and visiting in the juvenile detention is that the way they speak to the kids.
Okay.
And sometimes they the kids tell us that sometimes the workers, if they don't want to get up and do work, they say, well, if you don't do it, I'm going to get, Billy over here saying that you did this or whatever. They make kids, tell a little bit of lie so they can fight with one another.
So basically a divide and conquer thing, isn't it?
Yes. And since I've stopped working and really away from home, I'm starting to I've got time to think and looking at now back into my community, and I can see all the wrongdoings. And I want to start a social a page later. It's still in my creative mind at the moment.
Good.
Where we have a page and we all share what's happening in their community. The police picks on kids, I know, all around Australia, not only in Alice Springs, but all around Australia. And, it's all that name calling. These are grown men.
It's name calling. It's I can't believe what you told us about Andrew. Like, that's just incredible. I'm not surprised by it though, but I think one of the things that I'm really appalled about is the intervention and what's happening over in the Northern Territory and how they're trying to assimilate all those communities and trying to, get the old people off country.
Well, they've already started.
And Western Australia too.
And, Paul Clinton, he walked from over there on the, to go to the minister to tell him about, closing down his community. They're already off the community.
Yeah.
Some of them up in the top end. And check Sovereignty Union as well, because that's always up to date what's happening.
Yep.
I was with Clinton when the process of going up to the Prime Minister.
Oh, good.
He was around. They came down to the embassy around the fire. The Greens and the Minister for Aboriginal Affairs, and then the next day he went up. He went out and saw the Governor General, and the Governor General invited him for a cup of tea and whatnot with a couple of the elders, and the rest of us went the following day in front of Parliament House, and Shorten came out and with the Aboriginal senators, and that was good. He had nearly half an hour talking, or half an hour, 45 minutes or something. But he came out of the Parliament House to speak with Clinton and the rest of us. And the following day we went to see the Prime Minister. we all marching up there, and, it was all new to me, but we marched up there, and then when we got to the doors, the police or security or police or something, they all there with guns now, and they kind of put the guns, blocking Clinton from going in, and they said, "You got to go around the back," and we all looked at one another, and so we all went back, followed Clinton, and went right around the back, and it's a quite a distance for elderly people,
Yeah.
Anyway, we got up there, we got it screened, and then we went into the courtyard. Well, the courtyard was I could go 1, 2, 3, stretching my legs out and go 1, 2, 3, 4. We was right at the edge of the at the exit part.
Yeah.
We didn't even kind of go in the middle of this courtyard. He raced over, and all his media and that. And not even 15, 20 minutes, he ended the talk.
Wow.
And that was really, really disgusting for that little man to walk way over there. The Prime Minister could have put aside.
Disgusting, isn't it?
And go inside there and have a cuppa or really talk about his experience or something. But it didn't. It didn't happen. And I felt really sad for him. And I was thinking when we left there, and I was thinking, no wonder we don't have any hope here as Aboriginal people. We got to get together, and they are going to get together on 4th of November. They're calling people to come to the tent embassy to discuss some of those stuff that he picked up along the road, and juvenile, detention and deaths in custody is, right on top, sort of thing.
It's absolutely. There's so much to talk about, and I'm glad that there is going to be a gathering at the tent embassy to talk about that. There's just so much to talk about. It's approximately 4:52, and you're listening to an interview with Christine Palmer. This is the Doing Time Show 3CR. Christine, thank you so much for coming onto the program. We're going to be running out of time. Do you have any final comments you want to make before we finish?
I think we've got to do something. We're going to write a petition or something to the Northern Territory Chief Minister or to Prime Minister. They got to back away from provoking and wanting to hurt Dylan and his mum. We've got to really look after them.
We do need to.
And if we can do something on a national or international stage, or just writing letters, because it's unfair. Really unfair.
I'm hoping that Dylan's out. Is he out now for the moment?
He's out, and I think collectively, the people who went to prison or jail that day, collectively their fines come up to $5,000.
What?
And $5,000.
Wow.
I don't know what they were charged for, but the amount is $5,000. If we can chip in and pay that, I reckon we could help in that little way.
Do some benefit gigs or something. But look, this is a gross miscarriage of justice and violation of human rights. And Christine, I'm hoping we can have you back eventually to talk more.
Oh, well, you've got my phone number, Marissa.
Good on you. No, good on you. And keep up the good work. It was so good to have you.
Okay,
thanks
you
a
very
lot.
Much. But you didn't hear my rap song, but
no.
I ran. I can email it to you.
Is it long?
Hey?
We got time.
How many minutes is it?
It's only 3 minutes.
Oh, can you do it for us?
Just hang on.
Okay.
I'll have to just put it on the.
Yeah.
I'll just play it to my niece
if it's only 3 minutes, we can do it now.
Okay, then I'll just put it in here.
Yeah.
Just hang on.
And we're just standing by as Christine gets ready to do her rap song.
You can play a song or something, and I'll just get my daughter to open up her laptop.
Oh yes, so we'll do can we do an announcement, Peter, and then come back to it?
Yes.
I don't know. We'll
Actually,
just wait.
yeah, we'll play it.
Actually, can you open your laptop?
We'll just wait.
Yeah, we'll just wait.
Yeah, just one. Oh, you'd love it.
Yeah, so we're just going to wait. This is a very special special feature that we're going to be playing for Christine Palmer for her rap song. And it's approximately 4:55. So we've got about 2 minutes left. Well, 3 minutes left. So after this, we'll be going out with our theme song, Black Fella, White Fella, by the Rumpy Band. So we'll just stand by here and let Christine play this.
Yes, and it should have been Black Fella. No, we have survived.
Oh, yeah, well, sometimes we do play that. So, Christine, sorry, I don't mean to pressure you, but we are going to be running out of time very soon.
Yeah.
You might want...
It's here now.
Okay.
Here it is.
Okay. And we're still going to stand by.
Here we go.
Okay. You there, Christine?
Yeah, it's coming on.
It's coming on?
Okay.
Sister, I've got an idea. Yeah, what? Let's do a rap song. We should do one about that youth justice and the death in custody we've been protesting. Okay, then let's do it now. Check it out, be in no doubt. We're just two grannies, now hear us shout. Now we've had enough, we're silent no more. We gotta get tough, really tough on the law. We gotta stand now, it's time to yell it out, 'cause there's no better moment, need a motive. All the shackles and the cuffs, the spittled violence. Stop hurting now, kids forgotten with the silence. From the homes to the big house and then to the grave, it's time to stop your actions and make a change. While we're saving our kids, our culture and our mob, so you gotta step back because it's our job. Our way, our law, while we step through the door. You try to tell us who we are, try to sell our flaws. Because we're the First Nations and we couldn't. It was taken by you, but people of Greece. The rapes and the murders, they still happen now, and you try to justify yourself when kids are mowed down. Australia is the crime city still under the crown. And to the one Australian government, we're lost and we're found. So what do you reckon?
That's quite amazing, and that's a great note to end on, Christine. That was
awesome.
Awesome.
And we're just two grannies and all our grandchildren are saying, you don't even know how to rap us. The main thing is that there's that story there.
That's sensational. I'm so happy. Well, Christine, let's talk later on, and we're going to get you back on again, but we're going to wait for the next show now, Beyond Zero, to come up.
Okay.
Thanks a lot. It was so cool.
Radio station, so I know what it's all about.
We'll get you. Yeah, there'll be a podcast for you to listen in. I'll ring you about it. Thanks a lot, Christine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
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 Have a good day.
You too.
Stay safe.
Bye-bye. And we better say goodbye now. That was Christine Palmer speaking about Dylan Voller and her rap song. So we're going to be saying that with our Black Fella, White Fella song by Rumpy Band, and Beyond Zero up next.
Okay,
See ya.